Welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You have Sir Rick right here. Glad to have you here. Glad to be part of my show. Today I got a special guest with me today, Mr. Drive Safe Dave.
I'm not special. Am I always special?
You're not special. You're absolutely right. You've been like a guest host for a little
while.
What
are you talking
about? I want to thank you for stepping in.
Sir, it is co-host. We are co-hosts.
Co-host. Okay. You're not. That almost makes it sound equal, and that's not the case.
Absolutely.
I want to make sure we know.
Here we go.
Here we go. So let's just see.
You see these shoulders?
Producer. Let's just ask your producer. Let's go into a fear, because I think that's what I like. Who do you fear more of the two up here? Is there one you fear more than the other?
I don't think so, to be honest.
Wow, so we're equally? This will be changed. So, hey, I want y'all to tune in tomorrow with the new producer as we get going with the show. Hey, Drive Safe, I want to jump right into your shirt because I love the yellow color.
Excuse me? Slow down, Sir Rick. Hey, you don't have enough cash in your wallet, baby.
Oh, that is the first time you've ever heard that. And first of all, is there enough room for you and me in that shirt? I don't think so. I don't think so. But hey, Drive Safe, let's go into on your shirt there. You have, Dave, a picture, which I love, right? Because we talked about it earlier today on the show, is like, if you're riding on that bus and the person has no arms, then buckle them in. And that's kind of what you're trying to say, right?
This is a universal sign for buckle up. This is out there on the roadway. It's usually not on it's usually not in bathrooms or in like music halls. This sign usually isn't there. It's usually it's out there on the road. It's a road sign. It's to remind you to buckle up out on the highway, Sir Rick.
And you'll see a lot of those up in Roswell as well, because it looks like a freaking alien, right? There is no chance it's ever been a human. You'll see these shirts, this sign, mainly in Roswell. In case you come across an alien, then make sure you buckle them in if you take them on a ride.
You know, I find it difficult that you can't understand the geometric design of
you know what?
It's there. Do you not understand what this means, or do you have to pick it apart?
It looks like E.T. I don't even get any of it. It looks like E.T.
It's a seat. Wear your seatbelt. Just get to the message. Why are you trying to pick apart some? This saves lives.
It does save lives, and that's what we are about right here on BCB Live, not the artistic work behind what saves lives. It's about that seatbelt. It's about click it or ticket.
That's right.
But, David, you know what? Click it or ticket.
It's a slogan.
It's a slogan. Listen, here's the deal. It's like click it or you're going to die. Yeah, let's get down to it. What are we scared today to say the reason why does anybody fear a ticket? I don't think so. But let me tell you something. If you're not clicked in, if you don't have that seatbelt on, there is a much greater chance you don't survive in that accident.
50% is the number. 50% chance of dying in an accident.
So why wouldn't you wear it?
So you got to flip a coin. If you're going to get involved, and by the way, they're called accidents for a reason. They're not called on purposes. We don't go out with the intentionality of having a wreck today. It happens. It happens.
I'm going to disagree with you on that, Drive Safe, because when you're in that car, you're on that cell phone, you are like trying to get into an accident. That's a fact. So when you're using that cell phone, you grab it right here. You're only texting for a second. That turns into be 8 or 9 seconds. You are, Dave, asking to be in an accident. And if you don't have that seatbelt on, you're asking to be killed. That's what you're asking for. And I don't want to see my family anymore. That's what you're saying.
So also, and here it is. It is also a reminder, if you're the driver, insist that everyone in the car wear a seatbelt.
Yep.
You don't let a 2-year-old in the car without being buckled into a car seat.
Not anymore. We did when we were young. Yeah, it was cool back in the day. Just get in the back
of the station wagon.
I mean, were you the one that was like this driving? Like acting like you were driving backwards, in the back of the station wagon.
I was usually holding up signs that said "Help me," but I'm just saying that don't be that leader, be that person that realizes how important it is. Because let me tell you, you don't want to be driving and you get involved in an accident and those people in the car are killed because you didn't insist
Yeah.
that they wear a seatbelt. I mean, it's that important. You got to understand, everybody in the car is important. Every life is important, and you have a responsibility not only to yourself but to them. Plus, it protects them from even injury. I mean, it may not. I mean, even save their life, but it even protects them from injury out there or getting flown forward or hurting you. Because if they're not buckled in the back,
Yeah.
they become projectiles,
Yeah.
and they can kill you. So you want everyone buckled in when you get in the car. Rick, let me ask you a question. How are so many people killed today, and with all we know about seatbelts, how are so many killed without buckling?
Yeah, I don't understand that. And if you want numbers, I'll give you some numbers. We have to go back to year 2000, November 7th of year 2000, the last time that in the state of Texas, Dave, that we've gone without a fatality.
A day, yeah, one whole day.
Every day since November 7th of year 2000, hashtag in the street Texas, we have gone every day with a fatality. And how many of those could have been prevented by not being on that cell phone,
Yep.
not drinking, right,
Yep,
and then driving, and wearing your seatbelt? You know, you've got to get down, do that. You've got to want to make a difference. The only way we'll ever end this streak is if you stay off the phone. The only way we'll ever end this streak is if you don't drink and drive. The only way we ever end this streak is if you wear that daggum seatbelt that's not even a pain in the butt. Dave, you can say, well, I'm too big. There's not. What's the answer to that?
Extensions.
Extensions, just like the airplane.
And you know what? I'll just tell you, I got a friend of mine that drives a truck. $14 on Amazon, a licensed certified seatbelt extension for $14. Make it a little bit more comfortable to ride. If you're a big guy like me, make it a little bit more comfortable to ride in the seat. I mean, I'm just telling you, it'll save your life. Number one, it's the law. But number two, why wouldn't you want yourself and others protected?
Thank you.
And I'm going to tell you right now, most truck drivers don't realize that when they don't wear a seatbelt, they are no longer in control of the tractor in any type of collision. You just go out of the chair. And now who's driving that big 80,000-pound vehicle? You need to be locked in the seat. You need to be hold tight so that you can hang on to the wheel.
Preach.
And touch the brakes.
That's exactly 100% right. People think, Dave, it's only to keep them if they have that back. If you get thrown from your seat because you don't have your seatbelt on, guess what? You're in trouble, and so is somebody else.
Right.
If that vehicle's driving itself. Listen, Dave, we're only like a week away, less than a week away from being at Women in Trucking.
100%.
Here in Dallas, Texas, Women in Trucking, we're going to broadcast live from there. You can catch us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Twatter, everything imaginable. Twitch. Hitch, Mitch, you can Tinder. Swipe right and you can get Drive Safe Dave and I at the Dallas thing. No matter what, you can find a way to get us there. And we're going to have phenomenal people on.
Oh,
we're going to have we're going to have some guests on here that's going to blow your mind. Panels, and we are going to be broadcasting live, Dave, for a long time, or until we get kicked out. One of the two.
We're too loud.
We may get kicked out.
So, like on Wednesdays, we do Ladies Who Launch. And when we go to the Women in Trucking, it is going to be Ladies Who Launch
On steroids.
On steroids. Wow.
On steroids. We're going to be roiding it up there with Women Who Launch. No doubt about it. Hey, we're going to come back. Drive Safe Dave. Speaking of Women in Trucking, speaking of Ladies Who's Launch, who do we have on today on our Wednesday segment?
We have Claire Flaherty, co-founder and head of growth at Carrier Source.
All right, all that and so much more coming up on BCB Live.
The safest station in the nation.
You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News down in Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We had another $1.5 million seizure. If ever there's a time to do a pre or post trip, it's if you're doing something wrong. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob. You can kind of see where the visibility can be compromised a little bit. Again, right where that rain is.
And most importantly, safety. One of the things that we must do is make sure that safety is the number one thing that we focus on.
Going into an intersection, yellow is not the way. That's to clear an intersection, not to enter an intersection.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
All right, and we are back here on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. And we have Clara here, co-founder and head of growth at Carrier Source. How are you doing, Clara?
I'm so honored to be here.
Well, it is a
It's
pleasure.
really not that big of an honor. We try to make it sound like a lot bigger deal than it really is.
I don't know.
You know, we try.
Perfect, you still.
All right, Clara. First, I just want to start off real quick. What is Carrier Source?
Absolutely. So Carrier Source is really the easiest way to explain it is it's the Yelp of trucking. So it's a website where we have a profile for every interstate carrier out there that is listed on our site, and people can come and write reviews, and those carriers can come and claim their profiles and kind of take back their narrative and share their story on that profile.
Clara, do you guys also have like an award, like you award the best carriers, the top carriers, and all of that?
We don't have that yet, but we do have a Carrier Source score on the site, which you, based on the reviews you get, you can get a higher Carrier Source score. But we don't have any best of lists coming out yet.
I think we should. I think you should be giving T-shirts away, right? You know, like best carrier of the year by Carrier Source, right? And then, you know, best supporting carrier of the year by, you know, I mean, you should have like, and little trophies. I don't know what they would look like. Maybe like us. But you should have like little trophies.
You can make them like his
bobbleheads.
That person on his shirt right there, that extraterrestrial thing.
I love that. We were thinking like truck decals too, like best carrier. You can throw it, you know, a bumper sticker up on your truck.
That would make a little bit more sense.
So here it says, and by the way, I've got a notation here to congratulate you on being named co-founder over there at Carrier Source. Right? Is that right?
Thank you very much. Yeah. So my CEO, Rob, a couple of years ago, he was looking around the industry and he just saw that there was no way for carriers to get positive feedback online. You know, there's Carrier 411 and Freight Guard reports and the TIA watchdog, which is good and important for the industry, but there wasn't really anywhere where carriers could show off all the good hard work they were doing. So we all came from this company called G2.com, which in the software world is kind of the Yelp of software. You see where there's a trend in what we're building and moving with us. So we have this background in reviews, and we've seen the power that a review can be for a small business and the power that reviews have. So we wanted to take that to an industry that doesn't really have a place for trust and transparency between brokers, shippers, and carriers yet.
All right, so since entering into this industry, I need to hear, I mean, what has been the big surprise things that you've learned or discovered maybe even in trucking? Absolutely.
So I think, my background is fully reviews and fully software tech. So I've been in this industry now for 5 months, and it's been very interesting. And one of the things that I found that surprised me the most is there's a lot of distrust and a lot of I feel like people are ready for the other person to screw them over. Like you come into a conversation sometimes and it's like whether it's like the broker who doesn't trust that the driver is going to get the goods to where they need to be, or the shipper that doesn't think the carrier is going to do what the broker said. Like it's all, nobody's trusting each other. So that lack of trust has been striking to me for sure.
Yeah, you know what? We see that a lot. We hear it, even on this show here when we talk to people. One issue that has really created, I think this year more than ever, are the, and I'm curious if you have any feedback, and again, going off script here, but going on the feedback from that double brokering, from carriers maybe dispatching out of a foreign country or just purely doing it as a fraudulent thing, acting as a company, dispatching and taking that load and dispatching it to somebody else. Are you hearing some feedback on that?
We certainly are. We get a lot of reviews, not a lot, but quite a few reviews that are like double broker, do not use. And if you're a carrier and you get one thing that says you double brokered, like you can maybe take an opportunity to respond to that review and be like, here's why this isn't what this person is saying, and we're actually great, et cetera. And then you have 9 other positive reviews to show that you're doing what you do. But if you're a carrier and have 10 reviews that say double broker, like, no, I'm not going to use you. Like, I'd be crazy to use you.
Is there, so being new to this industry, I'm just going to keep going. So on the marketing side, I mean, is there a worse marketed industry than the trucking industry? I mean, we're not very good at it still today, I don't think. No. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's been interesting from my standpoint of I'm trying to market to carriers and to brokers and to shippers. So it's been very interesting coming from a field where I was marketing to people who were marketing software coming now to this. It's a lot of emails and a lot more phone calls than I've ever been used to. It's much more, it feels like it's about like 10 years behind of where some of the other industries have moved on. And it's such a critical industry for the world and for globally that it's crazy that it is still back there. So I'm excited for us all to come and shooting.
And speaking to the distrust factor and not trusting the other guy and always worried about you're going to get messed over, we kind of keep all the information secret, right? I mean, I don't want to tell you my gems because I'm afraid you're going to go take my gems. I don't want to give you the good information because I feel like that's proprietary information, right? When really it's just public knowledge, but I feel good about it.
And I'm going to go on this sometimes. Because we got messed over by this carrier, hey, listen, I want you to go through the same hell that I had to go through so we don't even report it then.
Yeah, I'd rather just stay out of the limelight. I don't even want anybody to know how bad they got me.
It is something that's been really interesting is when we're talking to these brokerages and they do treat carrier information like that proprietary knowledge, like it's, like it's theirs. And it's like, no, that's like a carrier wants you to know what truck types they have so that they know whether or not you can use them. Like it's not yours. Anyone could call up the company and ask them what truck types, but it's so like secretive and mysterious.
Do you see that? And obviously with what you're doing over there at Carrier Source, is you're allowing, which much different than the other watchdog, you're actually allowing the good information to spill out a lot, like I'll tell you, like my file over in HR, it's just full of the negatives. I don't have any of the positives in my file.
When it happens, I promise you I'll put it in there.
But it's kind of like how, but you don't understand what I'm saying? We tend to focus on all the negatives, and we don't ever tout the successes from other people that in this industry.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge miss because positive reviews and negative reviews, honestly, like you'll never hear me say negative reviews are bad. Like obviously a ton of negative reviews are bad, but 1 or 2, like that brings a lot of transparency to your page and that brings a lot more trust to your page and your profile. But there's such an opportunity for us to thank each other more and for us to be more grateful and to share that with the world so that I can get more business because I'm doing a great job over here and it helps me grow. It helps everybody in the end.
Yeah, you sound like you're touting me a lot. That's one thing I'm pretty good at is giving out praises within the operation here, just making sure everybody knows how valuable they are and what a great job and value they bring to the company. I will say this, I do have a saying, especially when it comes time for review, annual review. I always say, hey, praises, not raises. That's what, that is my little thing. I'll have some time you get to give some praises out. Hey, do you have an app? And if you do, talk to us a little bit about that app.
We don't have an app. We do have a website, so carriersource.io, and it really is, if you go to it, it's built as a carrier prospecting tool, so brokers and shippers can sign up, carriers can sign up. It's completely free for everybody to use. That's something that's really important to us, is we want to keep this database open. We want to keep this information open for people to sign up and just use the basic level because we do really believe it'll help the industry become more efficient and continue to grow faster than it ever could without it. But carriers have a profile page. Every carrier has a profile page that lists your FMCSA, insurance info, alongside your reviews, alongside all the information that people who have come in and claimed their page have given us. So that truck type, shipment type, preferred lanes, all of that. And then as a broker, you can go in and you can write reviews of the carriers you use, as well as find all the carriers that you might need, and make lists of like, okay, do not use this crew, or hey, this was a great New Hampshire to Maine carrier, etc. So you can organize that all on our site.
So you're on the, so when you say you're the Yelp, so obviously you've got like a star rating, right? Because that's how Yelp does it. They all do it. I mean, you get like, oh, well, they're 4.5 stars, or they're 3.5. Is that kind of the same way y'all do it over there? And if so, explain a little bit about your rating and review system, but also tell us anything that sticks out in your mind, anything that's particularly done well, or anything that you've seen that you liked a lot.
Something that I have been surprised by, especially after coming into the industry and seeing all the distrust that we were talking about, there's a lot of positive reviews. Like, people are excited to call out their favorite carriers and the companies that they love the most, and that's been really just good to see and nice to see. And then our reviews, we have an algorithm that will sort based on recency and based on star rating that the person gives, and that kind of sorts it into our carrier source score, which is what we're calling it. So like that Yelp star rating, but carrier source score.
Are you thinking of ways to take this a little bit further, meaning integration into TMSs? Because as carriers, what we don't like is to go to this system and this system, this system. Is there any thought into integrating into, say, some of these larger TMS systems? So when we are talking to a carrier, we put a carrier in there. For example, it may come up with your score on it, a 4.5 star, which gives us some belief that, number one, this carrier is real. You know, it's not a double brokered opportunity, but they're also a carrier that's been valued amongst other brokers or customer shippers or anything like that.
Absolutely. You know, especially the bigger brokerages, like, nobody wants their reps outside of their system. They want them all in their TMS. So having the carrier score, being able to funnel in there is definitely something that we're working on. We've had some conversations already.
And also, I got something else for you too on this, because these are real life problems that we have, and I love to share these with folks like yourself that can make a difference. I just think there's information that y'all in that software world have that we don't have on a broker side of the business, and that is to help us identify possible carriers that may be fraudulent. Meaning, a carrier may have 3 trucks and they're picking up a load for us, but if they're picking up another load for 18 other people the exact same day, there's a good chance that they're doing something with that freight double brokered, because you can't pick up 18 or 21 loads of 3 trucks. To help the brokers, to help this industry identify those fraudulent folks out there.
Yeah. Well, and we have, because of our extensive experience in reviews, we have a good verification system that we have, and so we ask people when they write a review, like, can you please share like a redacted brief confirmation, so we know that you actually worked with them. So having the visibility there and the verification that we go through, like, not anybody can write a review. We check who you are. We find you on LinkedIn. We make sure that you are who you say you are and that you conceivably worked with this carrier. So even one review could tell you that, okay, this carrier is real, they did a load, I could consider them.
Gotcha. And if you're a carrier, a good carrier, you want to be involved in this, right? I mean, you want to make sure that you get there, and if you deserve a good rating, you want to make sure that you're in there and that people have an opportunity to rate you as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, and we intend to always keep that free and open. So carriers today can come in, everybody's got a page, you come in, you search your MC number, your DOT number, and you can find your profile, claim it for free, and update all of that information to put your best foot forward and start gathering those reviews, also completely free.
And where do they go, Claire, to get that done if they want to join that page? Because you're telling us it's for free and an opportunity to be advertised. I don't think that's a negative in any way, shape. For free. Yeah. So how do they jump on board, Clara?
They just go to carriersource.io, and then you can click sign up, and it'll ask you for your MC number, and you can put that in, and the page will be yours.
All right, I'm going to keep, I feel like I'm expanding your business opportunity. I'm going to give you another one here. So because I just feel that if I'm a driver and I'm looking for a reputable trucking company, or I want to get some dirt, is there anything good about this trucking company? I feel like, especially if it's free, that I should be able to log onto your website, type in that trucking company, see what kind of reviews it's getting from the brokers, from the shippers, from its peers, or whatever it is. Are you seeing much of that, or is that maybe a later on kind of thing?
Absolutely. Anybody can search the site and can prospect even without signing up. So you could go on today and you could look at every single company that you might want to work for and start finding reviews on it and start reading all their information. You don't even have to sign up at all. We are seeing drivers come to the site, and we have gotten a couple messages from drivers just being like, hey, what have you heard about the company? Do you like them, et cetera? So that's another opportunity that we're thinking about, is like, how can we facilitate the connection between the driver and the carrier as well?
Gotcha. So if Drive Safe Dave were to log into that website and become a member of this, and he logged in and noticed that he had a 1-star, what are you doing? I want to hear this kind of specific. What are you doing with Dave to number one, let him know that, hey, you're a 1-star person, and then help him erase that or answer messages to get those stars, I guess, or that rating increased? What are you doing to help him?
Absolutely. So a 1-star rating, first we would rest assured, Drive Safe Dave, a 1-star rating is not the end of the world. It's actually a good thing. It's a wonderful opportunity for customer service, for making your business better, and also for driving some trust in your page. Because if I go to a page and I see all 5-star reviews, I might be like, I don't know, that's probably crap. People are unreasonable. You know, there's somebody's going to have a bad experience with company. But if I go to a page and it's 4.5 stars out of 5, then I'm like, okay, there are people, this is real. People are better. First, I would say rest assured, a negative review is not a bad thing. I'd encourage you to respond to it. Take a minute to read the feedback. Is it real? Is it reasonable? Do you owe them an apology, or is it like they just were having a bad day and you all did everything you could and you provided great service and they were reasonable? Either one, we still respond and say, hey, thanks so much for the feedback. You address the problem, and then please consider us again. And then on top of that, we would help you drive more reviews from the customers that you are working with, and the more reviews you have, the better that star rating gets. So we believe we never remove a review, because that destroys the transparency of the whole site. We verify everybody. Like, if they worked with you, if they had a bad experience, then that review stays, but it's a good opportunity for you to potentially get a repeat customer that you might not have had they not taken the time to share that review. Because you can respond and fix it and tell them how you're going to make it better.
Claire, let me ask you a question. And obviously, we're talking about carriers here. When are you going to open up the page on the brokers out there and create their reviews? When are you going to talk about the shippers out there? And are they good shippers? I mean, is that a good shipper to go to? What kind of ratings are they? Or do they hold my driver there for 3 days trying to get empty? I'm just saying, when are we going to get the other pictures of the other things in this industry?
100%, because it's only fair, and we've been thinking about that a lot. Like, there should be broker profiles, shipper profiles, all that. So that's something that we're looking at in Q1 of next year. We're still laying some groundwork here for the core product that we already have, but definitely something that we're looking at in the next couple months.
I feel like we should be part of this board. I want you to know we don't have to be co-founders, but we are asking a board seat for certain.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to be able to just call out something, and we just hold up a 1 through 10, right, Rick? We have scorecards, and we just hold them up 1, 2, 3, 4 stars. And that way you know what the real experts think, right? Don't you think so, Rick?
I like that. I'll throw one more out there because it's another valuable thing, and I think you're already doing it again, is to rank some of those truck stop locations. Which ones just aren't clean? Which ones don't have the right parking, don't have the lighting? All of these things that I love what y'all are doing. First, Dave, we're going to rate these drivers at these trucking companies first. But other ideas, we've given you all plenty. I think you're at least covered for the next decade or so. So
yeah.
you're welcome on that.
Thank you.
Hey, Claire, we want to thank you for coming in and talking to us. This segment's really about ladies out there making a change, doing something in our industry. And you know what? You don't necessarily just have to drive a truck. You can do so many things in this industry. It's a huge, wide industry, and it sounds to me like you've jumped in with both feet. Congratulations for jumping in here and joining the logistics groupie.
Welcome. We welcome. You're approved. Sir Rick approved. How about that?
All right, before you go, Claire, I got to ask 2 things. Number one, how do we reach out and get a hold of either Carrier Source or you to learn more about this?
Carrier Source, you can find, it's carriersource.io. And then it's just my first name at carriersource.io for my email. So Clara at carriersource.io. Please email me. Happy to hear from anybody. Love to talk.
What is IO? What does that stand for? Hold on, don't say it. Don't say it. Drive Safe Dave. This is a bonus we're going to give out to Claire. What is what is it? IO.
It means the amount of money that you have to pay back to somebody else because that's what he owes, right? I mean,
that was cute, David. That was cute,
isn't it? You owe, he owes. All right, Claire. Before you get out of here, we want you to state your name, who you're with, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that?
I can do that. My name is Clara Flaherty. I'm with Carrier Source, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Woo! Great job, Clara. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in Women in Trucking next week, okay?
See you there. Can't wait. Thank you.
Look forward to it. Bye-bye.
All right. Drive Safe Dave. A lot of excitement, a lot of energy.
Ladies who
Love
launch.
these things. Let me tell you something. There's so much going on in this industry now. It's all about information. It's about technology. It has definitely changed, Dave, since when you first started driving, right?
Yeah, load board. Let me pull it off of the load board in the truck stop and call that number on the payphone. It's changed.
Yes. Hey, listen, we got to go to a break because this is an extended version of the show today. At 12:45, we have John Kingston coming on the show. All right, we got John Kingston coming on the show at 12:45, which I thought, though. So I know he may be on there. Is he ready to go? Do we know that for sure? Because we have Dale ready to come on. Let's go to a break. We'll come back here in about a minute.
All right. All right, this is Drive Safe Dave here on BCB Live, the same station in the nation, along with Double Check. Dale has kind of slid in here. What are we talking about today?
Hey, we're talking more about that slips, trips, and falls, you know, getting in and out of your truck,
Whoa!
making sure we do it safe. Yeah, we don't want drivers injured. We don't want people injured. And, you know, we talk a lot about vehicle safety, but we also have to talk about our safety, about personal safety. You know, be attentive to your surroundings. You know, check the ground around you for holes, uneven terrain. Make sure if there's loose gravel, you're aware of it before you get out of your truck. If you're walking to your truck after a rain, make sure, you know, if your shoes have leather soles, sometimes they're very slick. You want to be aware of that so you don't slip and fall and hurt yourself, Dave.
Absolutely.
Stat fact, 45,000 falls for transportation workers in 2020. 45,000 falls that resulted in injuries for transportation workers. That's too many. Just have to be aware of our surroundings and take it a little bit slow.
Yeah, you're more likely to be hurt by just falling down than you are by in a crash. So your odds are up. So we're just asking you to pay attention to that, be aware of that, and be safe. We want you safe all the time. That's what we do here. We talk about safety in or outside the vehicle, right?
Yeah, that is it. That 3-point egress and ingress. You know, just got to make sure we're doing it the right
That's
way.
in and out, by the way. Just want everybody to know.
There you go. Hey, let's look at some videos.
Let's go. All right, here's the first video. Obviously, we are a little bit too close, doing 70 miles an hour. We are 1 second away from the vehicle in front of us. We need to increase that, right?
Yeah, we need to increase that. Just need to make a change. You know, sometimes we get so status quo and we just don't make a change here. The speed stays the same and there's no brake going on. Just touch that brake. Just back out of it a little bit. Get that space.
Ease off. Let's go. Ease off. Next video.
Ooh, this is aggressive driving. This is tailgating. This is just flat out unsafe. Driver starts out too close and then makes it worse by getting even closer. Man, that's just aggressive driving. That's just scary right there, Dave.
Yeah.
Just back out of it. You're
And
not
by
going to
the
make
way,
them go
the
faster.
person right here at this moment right here, the person looks in the rear view, all they see
Is grill.
That's all they see, and it's very intimidating. And by the way, the driver's already in the right lane. I mean, I don't.
yeah.
I mean, how much more? What else do you want them to do? They're already in the right-hand lane, doing everything they can. They have every right to be there, and it is not your right to break the law and crowd them,
Yeah.
tailgate, and intimidate.
Yeah. Don't push them.
No pushy.
It's the darkness. We're too close.
We are
a
too
couple
close.
things come into it. Just
58 miles an hour, and we're way too close.
yeah, just got to back out.
We're
of
less
it.
than a second away.
And no big picture here. I mean, it's dark. There's no big picture. Just got to back on out of it. There we go.
All right.
In today's.
Oh no! Don't say it's so.
Yeah. Okay, I won't say it, but it is. It's a rolling stop sign. It's not the same one as we saw yesterday because we're actually making a left-hand turn here. It doesn't matter if you're turning left, right, going forward. You got to stop first. Got to take that good look. Make sure you're seeing what's going on before you pull out into that lane of traffic.
That's starting to. I mean, right now, to me, you know how you've got that forward deal, the forward vision right here.
Yeah.
If you don't stop, that's the vision you have, and I don't care if you look left or right. You can't see around those West Coast mirrors good enough.
Yep.
To get around out of there. You've got to come to a complete stop. You've got to respect the intersection you're at. And by the way, that is a stop sign.
And it means stop.
That doesn't mean, hey, I almost stopped.
Yeah.
That means what was that sign we saw the other? You really got to stop.
Yep, you really got to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, yep, you do. That's what it's
Absolutely.
about.
I'll tell you what. We joke around. But it's prevalent in today's society.
Yeah.
Out there on the roads, people not stopping at stop signs. It's really prevalent.
It really is.
I mean, it happens. You do it. You've done it. You know what we're talking about. Oh, but it's not okay.
Yeah, everybody does it. I know the area.
Yeah. I mean, you don't roll through a stop light.
No.
I mean, it's
don't.
the same violation.
Same points, probably the same fine.
It is the same fine, the same point. And you know what? You know what's scary about all that? Why do we not care, Dale? Why do we not care?
Dave, I can't tell you the answer to that because I do. I mean, I do care. That's why we talk about this day after day. That's why we pointed out how important it is to stop because I do care.
There's something going on up here that tells us that, well, we are more important than the stop sign.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to get in a wreck. I got this.
Yeah.
You know how many people have gotten hurt with those famous last three words? I got this.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people have actually been hurt?
I thought I could make it.
I thought it was clear.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you got to stop at these stop signs. It's something. It's very important. It's very necessary. And it's something that you got to do.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. There's no more I thought. It's I know. It's I know.
And I'm going to tell you, and herein lies the rub. Don't you want to be able to say if somebody pulls you in, let's say somebody gets killed at one of these intersections.
God forbid.
And you're up on the witness stand defending yourself, and somebody says, well, are you sure you stopped? And do you want to say, well, I stopped most of the time?
Yeah.
Or do you want to turn to them and say, I know I stopped because I stop all the time?
That's right.
I stop all the time. That's how I know I stop. But if you're on a witness stand, you'll never be able to say that if you don't.
That's right. I mean, you got to recognize what your habits are, where you're doing it at, and then you got to correct it. I mean,
here's the rub. Look back at your day today, yesterday, and the day before, and I'm going to bet you told yourself you stopped at every stop sign. I'll bet you tell yourself that. And now it's time to come clean. Pay attention to them today, and let's see how many you really stop at. Because I'll guarantee you don't. I guarantee you're missing the point of what I'm trying to say. There's just too many doing it out there for somebody to go, well, it's not just me. I stopped. No. Yeah. It's too many people out there getting hurt. We have too many people losing their lives. It's time to stop.
Yep.
All right. What we'll do is we'll come back in just a minute here on BCB Live.
The safest station in the nation.
BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News down in Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We had another $1.5 million seizure. If ever there's a time to do a pre or post trip, it's if you're doing something wrong. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob. You can kind of see where the visibility can be compromised a little bit. Again, right where that rain is.
And most importantly, safety.
One of the things that we must do is make sure that safety is the number one thing that we focus on.
Going into an intersection yellow is not the way. That's to clear an intersection, not to enter an intersection.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
You got to be prepared to stop. And when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
All right, hey, welcome back to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. We're joined, Drive Safe Day, by Mr. John Kingston from FreightWaves. John, what's going on? FreightWaves, Sonar, you're the data guy. And John, before you can answer that question, you got to look right here. You're a volatility guy. Look at this fuels chart right now. You're talking about volatility. Look at that. That is craziness.
Yeah, can you hear me, guys? Because I didn't get an audio check. Can you hear me?
We hear you, sir.
All right, good. Yeah, the fuel spread in Sonar, fuels.usa or localized, it's a very simple calculation between the wholesale price that's in the ULSDR data series in Sonar and the retail price, the DTS series. And when you see that kind of volatility, it'll tell you that the retailers, remember, the oil companies do not set the price at the retail level. They do set a wholesale price. And that wholesale price does move pretty much very, very high correlation with futures. Retail doesn't. When you get this kind of crazy volatility in the wholesale price, the retailers, they can't react that fast. And so this is why you get these nutty swings in this spread. So you go from a retailer one week having a price that's maybe making them a lot of money, and the next week not maybe making them a lot of money, and the price could be the same. This is why, because of the enormous volatility that we've seen really in oil markets all this year, and in diesel markets in particular, going back to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So yeah, retailers, their business is not set up really to make money on gasoline or diesel. It's set up to make money on all the other stuff. So yeah, but the spread between the two, between wholesale and retail, has been absolutely nuts this year.
And John, as we look forward, it doesn't look like it's going to get any better, right? I mean, with winter coming on, with some of the more sanctions going to go on with Russia as we get over closer to the end of this month, I mean, it's just not going to get any better. It looks like, right?
No, there really isn't any. When you say get better, you're talking in terms of the fuel spread, the volatility. And no, you're right. The sanctions are against Russia. Nobody's really sure what kind of impact that's going to have. The weather is always extremely volatile. In case everybody really doesn't understand, diesel is a distillate. So is heating oil. Diesel also can be a substitute for natural gas in some applications. So whether we have a cold winter or a warm winter, it's going to have a really big impact on diesel. I say more than in most years.
Unless, like the rumors we hear, and that's really a big question I have, because we hear it from the truck drivers, especially calling in emails saying, well, we may not have to worry about it because it looks like we're going to run out of diesel. John, talk to us a little bit about that.
All right, so this number that comes out every week from the EIA, the Energy Information Administration, got a lot of attention starting about 2 weeks ago. So they come out every Wednesday, the report's out today, with all sorts of statistical numbers on supply, numbers on demand. So there is a figure called days cover. And it's a very simple number. You take the total average consumption and you divide average daily consumption, and you divide that into inventories, and you come out with days cover. And days cover basically assumes, that not assumes, but says if all production out of refineries stopped and all imports stopped, how many days could inventories hold out? Now, that's not going to happen. The refining industry in the U.S. is not going to shut down. We're not going to stop imports. But, I mean, it's an important number because tight inventories will drive up the price. So around this time of year, that number should be somewhere around, I'd say 30, either side of 35 days. And as of like 2 weeks ago, it was 25 days. So that got picked up in a lot of media, a lot of social media, as we're going to run out of diesel in 25 days. That's not what it means. But it does mean that inventories are tight. And when inventories are tight, it will drive the price higher.
Also, a lot of discussion around the United States dumping from their reserves out onto the open market, and in talking and discussing that. And it's also led into a little bit of the talk around the truck stop about how much fuel's out there and stuff like that. Go ahead and speak to also to the oil reserves that they're putting out on the market to help stem the price of fuel.
Yeah, well, the sales from the SPR have been running at about 800,000 to 1 million barrels a day now for several months. I have to go back and look at when they started. It's really been pretty amazing. It's certainly nothing that I've ever seen in my career covering oil. We've had certainly periods where oil was sold from the SPR, but that was usually in the wake of a hurricane. I know there was some sales back in 2011, I guess that was, when you had the Libyan revolution that pretty much shut down that country. But this sort of consistent sale of reserves, week in and week out that goes on for months is really unprecedented. I don't think there's any doubt that the price of oil is lower than it would have been had those sales not taken place. I mean, if you're putting 800,000 to 1 million barrels a day onto the market, that is as if the country of Algeria cloned itself, because that's about what Algeria makes. And I think, for those who are saying, well, this is no big deal, if Algeria suddenly disappeared from the market tomorrow, you'd have a lot of problems. If another Algeria suddenly was created, that would be very good for consumers. So I don't think there's any doubt that the price is probably lower than it would have been as a result of the sales. The problem is, for diesel consumers, is that it's a long way to go from the sale of crude oil to making diesel. And with restrained refining capacity, the price of diesel relative to the price of crude and relative to the price of gasoline has soared. So that's a really big issue here. So yes, the SPR sales have helped hold down the price of oil, but the impact on diesel is probably somewhat limited.
John, we have the big, and you have the big freight waves in Chattanooga going on right now. What's the big conversation right now that you're seeing out there at Freight Waves?
Well, it's been a great meeting. Of course, unfortunately, I'm surrounded here by a lot of my colleagues, and we've been working really hard, pumping out stories, onto freightwaves.com. So unfortunately, we haven't got out as much as we would like to. But look, it's always interesting to walk down the halls and see who's exhibiting, because that kind of tells you where the interest is. And right now this has been a great meeting, 1,800 people. First, we had a live event back in May. But I wasn't there, so that doesn't count, So this is my first one in 3 years. And what's interesting, of course, is that when you walk down the hallway and you look at the exhibitors, most of them are exhibiting something to do with transparency or something to do with efficiency, automation of invoices, Internet of Things type of tools that aid in tracking freight. So those are the exhibitors. There's a lot of them here. Another theme that's actually happened twice, I'm not just saying this because I did the interview on one, is China, and we've heard several things about China, and that maybe they've got some long-term problems here. On the one hand, we had a very good speaker yesterday named Leland Miller, who's a Chinese expert, who says he just does not see the Chinese government continuing this constant, as he termed it, backstopping of bad companies, bad businesses, to keep them afloat, to to have a really good growth rate look apparent. And then this morning I interviewed a guy named John Ibbotson, who's a journalist who wrote a book about declining population. And he says, the Chinese are really in the process of getting slammed by their one-child policy, because the country is getting very old very fast, and there are not young people coming behind them. And then that leads to the question of immigration in the U.S., the U.S. is also dealing with a significantly lower birth rate. And how does it reverse that? I think John's view is that you can't really reverse the birth rate, but you can bolster your economy by increasing immigration, which, as you know, is a very controversial issue. So that was a great talk, and I'm not sure when that'll be put up on FreightWaves TV, but I definitely recommend people going and watching it because it was outstanding.
Yeah, those are the demographics. Let me tell you that, 3-5 years ago, I would have thought there's no chance I would ever want to get involved and listen to somebody talk about the demographics. It's absolutely the most interesting thing because it is so relevant right now when you talk about the United States, when you talk about the immigration, and when you talk about China and some of the policies that they've held. We've had Donald Broughton talking about that. It's absolutely amazing, what happened from, many years ago, how it's kind of catching up to us today, the baby boomers.
Yeah, we told little vignettes. One of my favorite is that in China, the average Chinese child not only doesn't have siblings, but the average Chinese child doesn't have cousins either. Because after all these years of the one-child policy, it's highly likely that both parents are only children, so they don't have aunts and uncles, which means they don't have cousins. The other little fact that kind of came up today, we were talking about the baby boom, of which I am a member in good standing, and the biggest surge of baby boomers during the whole, I think the baby boom was listed as going from like 1946 to 64. The biggest 3-year surge in births was 56 to 58. I was born in 56. And, people who were born in 56 last year turned 65. Which means if they were in a job that they were keeping primarily for the benefits, they didn't need to do that anymore. They could go on Medicare. And then that happens this year with people who were born in 57 and next year with people who were born in 58. So these are all lots and lots of people exiting if they choose to exit, not like me, I have no choice, no desire to exit. If they do choose to exit, are there going to be enough people there to replace them? And increasingly the answer is no. And increasingly the answer to solving that then is just more immigrants.
Yeah, I was thinking and wondering, and hearing you say that, I was kind of just going to my mind, is our big hope for the future from COVID and everybody going back to work, from workplace to the home? I mean, did we see any benefit from births coming from that period? Has that data came out yet?
I've seen a couple little references to it, and this is not like the 1965 Great Blackout in New York where you had a baby boom 9 months later. It is pretty apparent that we did not get a COVID baby boom from everybody being locked down.
Gotcha.
Nobody wanted to get near anybody, even during COVID. You know what? I'm good.
I do believe that baby boom 9 months after the November 65 blackout is real. It is not urban myth. Apparently there actually was a surge in babies like 9 months after. It was November 65, so that would put it down to what, August 65. So I guess there's a lot of babies born in August.
Well, they didn't have good cable. They didn't have good cable TV in 65. So
it didn't matter if you had cable because you had no power either. So.
That's true. Exactly. Find something to do.
Hey, John, I want to thank you. I know you're a busy man. I know you got so much going on there. I want you to thank you for taking the time to come out here and join us here on BCB Live. John, before you get out of here, we are going to ask you to state your name and say you've been watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
I'm John Kingston. You've been watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
All right. Thanks, John.
Right.
We do appreciate
Hey, John,
it.
I appreciate you. Hey, great job out there again. Love your articles. I can't wait to see these on FreightWaves TV. I'll say it right now. I'll give you all a plug. Love the FreightWaves TV information. Tune in to that. John, give us a heads up, and we'll put it out there for you. We got to hear that interview. I'm telling you, demographics is for real.
Yeah, when it's up, I'll let you know, Rick.
All right. Thank you, John. Appreciate you.
Thanks, John.
Take care, guys.
All right, everybody. Hey, what a great episode, Drive Safe Dave. We are running out of time. We went extended version today.
Boom.
We had extra sponsorship coming back from that. Stay tuned to your normally scheduled TV show. It's whether it's General Hospital, whatever's on this channel coming up next. It'll flip right back to it. Until tomorrow, y'all stay safe and make it happen. Make that decision, Dave. Make that intentional decision to make today the safest day ever.
Click it.
Ticket.